the process of making this film was always with the family. The family is actually the gatekeeper of the whole story, and you know, it was a tough relationship at first to learn our traits. The one of organizing and respecting a figure that if you let go once, it will go away. First film ever made about this man, the asset of the entire organization. And these crazy Mexican filmmakers who only cared about storytelling. So somewhere in the middle we found a path to continue, and one day Paul Chavez, who's not here but in spirit is here, told us, okay guys, go ahead. You know, we've gone through, you know, there was a time when the script had more pages as revisions from the family than the script itself. And we said, guys, you have to trust us. You know, we're making a film and this has to be about the empathy and it's about characters. And there's a thing there somewhere called the science of filmmaking that exists. And they allow us to have that freedom. And you know, when they saw the film, you know, we all hugged each other and cried for a long time. So yes, and Dolores is very much part of the whole thing. And you know, she was very tough at the beginning. We said, I never would say that. And you know, eventually we all came to terms. And you know, today I think it's together, the together thing that is created the strength of the story and to promote the film. It's very important that we're all on the same page. You have anything to add? Mr. Rodriguez?
No, with Pablo and Diego, as you've seen, I mean, they just did a fabulous job. As I mentioned, it took 4 years to kind of bring it all together, reviewing scripts and reviewing parts and everything else, but they did a tremendous job in terms of, you know, for us that are involved in organizing. I think you saw all the different techniques and strategies that are utilized there, and made sure that what took place back then was brought out in the film, the nonviolence and the whole talk about the boycott. The first time that was ever done within the labor movement, and workers go to cities, farm workers that had never been out of California, had never been out of their own farm worker communities, not knowing English, going to Chicago and to New York City and to Cleveland, Ohio and to Miami and all throughout the nation, and going into Canada and talking about what it was, the life of a farm worker. As you said, you were a boycotter at one time, and there's other boycotters here in the room tonight. And so those were things that happened as a result of the genius and the innovation and creativity of the movement at that particular time, of our leadership, of the workers coming up with ideas in terms of how they could go tell the story. And Diego and Pablo just did a tremendous job of trying to capture all those things, the Virgen de Guadalupe and religion, how much it played a part, the marches, and were simple things, but yet that's what really created the success that we've had throughout the years, and kind of showed what the difference was from all the other attempts that had been made, because this wasn't the first attempt to organize farm workers. As many of you know, there had been many attempts to do that weren't successful for whatever different reason. But here, and I think one of the most important lessons that we learn out of here is that Cesar Chavez always talked about, and the leadership always talked about, the importance of common people doing uncommon things. And that's what it tries to demonstrate, the film, and certainly y'all did a tremendous job in capturing that.
Hi, thank you so much. First of all, the film is amazing. I really enjoyed it. I saw Abel a long time ago, and I loved it. Absolutely.
You were the one?
I saw it at, I think, Morelia, at a film festival.
Ah, okay.
But I work in acquisitions in Latin American films, so, you know, my question is actually very much about where you see, I know you guys work with a lot of young filmmakers, young, you know, Latin American, Latinos, and I know you work with just kind of trying to bring them up so that they have the support. I think the crossover has been so difficult. It's the holy grail right now. Everyone wants to know, Pantaleon wants to know, how do we get this out to everybody to not make it such a niche film? Where do you see those stories coming? Where do you see the future of the young Latin American directors and the stories that they're looking to tell. I feel like this might be an introduction to them of Cesar Chavez. And I wonder what the stories are with so much that we deal with, immigration reform, just inequality in economically, all of those things.
Okay. Define the future of Latin American cinema. No,
Maybe experience can help.
exactly. This old man had the vision in our company. No, I would say it's about us.
Don't leave, it's gonna get fun.
Well, if you leave, I'm sure it's to call many that are about to fall asleep, and you're gonna tell them how an amazing journey you had in these 2 hours looking at this film. I understand. Yeah.
That's an American question.
You see, that's a problem. You know? When we talk about ourselves as Latin Americans, what is that? Like, if that had a meaning, I mean, I can sit in front, of a guy from Guatemala and a guy from Chile, and we realize we're so different. So, what I'm gonna say is that you just stories have a context. At the end, stories and characters have a nationality. Film doesn't, and film is richer, as diverse as the team making the film, as diverse as it can be. That makes a richer result, But then, the story has a context, and you have to be specific and accurate and go for it. And that's what makes film universal, when you're not thinking about pleasing people, but when you're thinking about pleasing one point of view and everyone following that. And that's a cinema. When we decided to open a company together, we said, and this is 2 actors and a producer, very dumb, because we said, the 3 of them. We said, let's make a company that is going to be about respecting the point of view of directors. We didn't know the issue we were about to get in. This is all about making sure they can make the film they want, because once you're capable of pleasing one point of view, we're not here alone. Someone will care out there, But it's when you sit down and think, oh, I'm going to do a film that matters to everyone. So let's have an Asian, a Latino that dies in the second act, or he could be fat and funny, whatever. And then you start to do these films that are about a market, and that barely works. And if it works in the box office, it doesn't stay in your head forever. It doesn't change your life or anything, and that's what we want to do. So I think also, as audiences, we have to stop thinking about ourselves as part of a niche. We're not a niche. I don't know if you know the story behind a film called Instructions Not Included, that it was a Mexican film, 80% in Spanish. A very famous comedian in Mexico did it, and he made $40 million in the States, coming from nowhere, like the UFW. The growers were having champagne when they got hit. No one was expecting success to come out from this movie, and it happened. And this is people that probably went to the cinema for the first time in their lives. They're there. It's just us that we haven't reached them. It's us that we haven't fed them.
I didn't understand the champagne and the workers part.
Well, that the growers never thought this could happen. The growers never thought this community could get together and
I haven't
organize.
seen you drinking champagne or that.
No, I was talking about the growers.
But it's an important point. It's and I'm sorry to just use the microphone, but it's here. But it's about empowering the cinema of Latin America in a way that we somehow. We're here talking to you, and it's our responsibility to be able to continue and pull the string and be able to pull what it's there. And it's always been based on the director, on the author, and the person who writes or thinks about the story. And even though we made this film, which took a lot of attention from our time, but we keep working on the people that are coming. Here sitting with us is Yolanda. She's a graduate from this beautiful school, and her story is incredible, and you know, you will think that why these crazy monkeys are thinking and talking to her, but this is what we are and this is what we're all about. I don't know, you know, I realized that after making this film, I'm much better doing Yolanda's movies than trying to fight these crazy studios, you know, so that's what we do.